Good morning, everybody. First of all, I have no props today. Sorry, but we will begin the meeting. That being said, we are built on the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Nation. Again, we do have some regrets. Real quick, Vice Chair Kitts is not here today. But we certainly have a full complement of people today. At this point, I'll get the committee coordinator to do roll call.
Councillor Bradley.
Here.
Councillor DeRoche. Councillor Devine.
Here.
Councillor Dudas.
Here.
Councillor Gower.
Here.
Councillor Johnson.
Here.
Councillor Lowe. Councillor Luloff.
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Councillor Skowski.
Here.
Councillor Troster.
Here.
Vice Chair Kitts and Chair Tierney.
I'm here.
You have quorum, Chair.
Thank you very much. Just before we begin the meeting, obviously with the vice chair not present, I'm just looking around the table. You're the closest to me, Councillor. Councillor Skalski will act as vice chair for this, what will most likely be brief meeting. Is everybody okay with that? Congratulations for the next 15 minutes. All right. So, notices of information for meetings. That's just placeholder item. Declarations of interest, seeing that there's none. Confirmation of the minutes from PWIC, minutes 21, September 25th, 2025. Are those carried? Thank you. We do have the 3 inquiries to response. Item number 5, we have a Planning, Development and Building Services Department. It's item number 5.1, Maryville Road, Baseline Road to Slack Road, Transit Priority Environmental Assessment Study. That's good news. No presentations. We've only received correspondence that is saved on the drive as per usual, and we have no delegations to speak. Is this item carried? Oh, do you wish to hold this item? Councillor,
The item for a couple questions. Thank you.
So we'll hold the item. Item number 2 is the 5.2 amendments to the Brian Kohlberg Boulevard Extension Environmental Assessment Study. I see a hand up. Is it a brief question, Councillor, or did you want me to hold the item?
I actually have, there's a technical amendment to add my comments to the report.
Perfect. Thank you. If you wish to read that in, that is good timing, and thanks for reminding me.
No, that's fine. What I would suggest, everybody can see it on screen. I'll just read the top of the therefore be resolved, and then everybody can read my comments as part, if that's okay. Whereas the ward councillor's comments were inadvertently omitted from the report on this item, therefore be resolved that the comments by the ward councillor section of the report be amended to include the following text. And then as you'll see, there's my comments below.
Wonderful. So that's now been read in as the amendment. Is the amendment carried?
Carried.
Carried. Yeah. And on the actual motion, is that carried?
Carried.
Thank you. So looking at item number 6, we do have 1 delegation. I'll just look to the clerk. They are in favor. This is a harmonized speed limit on Jeanne d'Arc North. I know councillors Dudas, Luloff, myself, and even Kitts to some degree have really been working on this. So looking around, is the delegation here? We do not have a presentation. Perfect. Oh, okay. So there's a presentation on file, but we do have Matthew Gagnon here. So we will hold this item and come right back to it in a minute, as there was another item that was held. And we have no in-camera items, and we'll go through the rest of the agenda. But going back to the first one that was held by Councillor Johnson is related to item number 5.1, Maryville Road. Councillor?
Thank you very much, Chair. So a couple questions just on the scope of the environmental study, what residents can expect. I'm very glad to see more city investment and attention paid on the West End transportation options that we so desperately need. So it's definitely a good news story. But certainly when looking at Maryville Road, you know, it's a very heavy car corridor. A lot of people use it as one of the few north-south routes. And so I wonder, you know, are you looking, when you're thinking about putting in the bus-only lanes, are you looking at all modes of transportation? How do you assess for that?
Through you, Chair. Thank you for the question, Councillor Johnson. Yes, the EA study will be looking at all modes, including transit, pedestrian, and cycling infrastructure, and also the connectivity in the neighboring area.
And so, you know, when we're talking about, for example, the intersection at Maryvale and Viewmount, you know, that one has been very highly publicized as being dangerous. We have Maryvale High School, where a lot of my residents will cross. Maryvale, will an EA study that is focused on transit priority lanes be able to capture some of those other users around intersections like that?
Yes, absolutely. The EA studies provide us with an opportunity to look at each infrastructure, each intersection within the corridor, and we will be looking at safety improvements that we can make at the Viewmount intersection.
That's wonderful news, because certainly, you know, we've done a lot of advocacy, and so have the parents around that intersection for a number of years. And so to be able to leverage funding from one department to assist in priorities across within this same portfolio is really helpful. And can you please expand on the mention in the report of the sewer upgrade potential? I found that part of the report obviously vague at this time. What's the likelihood that we would see a full integrated project come forward for Maryvale in the near future to align with some of the results of this study?
Yes, the EA study gives us the opportunity to look at all of the planned investments in the area for the future. So one of them that we know that is planned is the Maryvale Sanitary Sewer Project. And so it will give the opportunity to give recommendations on how these public investments can be coordinated in the future when the construction occurs.
And so will that potential for an integrated project, which obviously has even more potential for reinvestment in the area with these other areas of pedestrianization, cycling safety, road safety initiatives, how does that talk to the secondary plan for Maryvale that is also ongoing? If residents want to participate in some of the engagement opportunities across these different projects, where do they go?
Absolutely. We do want to make it welcoming and easy for residents to know what's going on in the area in terms of studies and planning. So staff from community planning and transportation planning have already been working together to coordinate the secondary plan and the EA study. And we plan to hold the public consultation events, such as the open houses, together so that residents are informed at the same time about what's going on in the area in terms of planning.
Well, this is tremendous news for College Ward residents of Cityview, Crestview, and the surrounding neighborhoods that want to see the best for Maryvale. So I'm really glad that this is coming forward at this time. And thank you for the opportunity to ask a few questions, Chair.
Great. Thank you very much. Councillor Devine.
Thank you, Chair. Well, hello, everybody. Good. Hey, so hello, staff. I'll just follow up on Councillor Johnson's comments, because I'm the neighbor on the other side who is very, very grateful to see this EA. I'm also very happy, as Councillor Johnson was just talking about, of seeing the integration of your work with the baseline Maryvale secondary plan, the integration of your work with the work that will be happening for the sewer. I think that integration will help to deliver, you know, a more cohesive project in general. I was also very happy to see in the scope of work that there's going to be a desire to look at integrating person-based metrics into the planning. I think one thing that I, and I'm sure many, are eager to see is how this project might help address the fact that for many, many, many years, Maryvale has tried to be all things for all people. It's tried to be an arterial commuter road. It's tried to be a transit corridor, and it's tried to be a main street of shopping destinations, and it never really fully succeeds for any. And so I'm sure that this process will lead towards identifying the best way for Maryvale to be in integration with those other projects. I suppose the only question I have, and this is kind of following up to Councillor Johnson's, as I understand it, it's going to be an 18-month process for your EA that will ultimately lead toward the functional design. we've already had good, my office has already had good interactions with staff in raising other issues, whether it be distributor roads or, how to plan for access around the corridor. Can I assume that in addition to the community having entry points into this process, that there will be ample opportunities for councillors and their offices to be involved in discussing the long-term plans for this corridor?
Yes, we'll keep your office informed, and we're happy to meet at any time
Great.
throughout the process.
Thank you. I look forward to it, and thank you very much for putting this on the agenda.
Great. Thank you. It seems like some pretty good support here. So on this item, is this item carried? Okay, I can't pronounce that word, but it sounds great. So we'll move along to the next item. Great, is item 6.1, a harmonization of speed limits on Jeanne d'Arc. And we have, I believe, Mr. Mathieu Gagnon, Convent Glen Orleans Woods Community Association online. We're just like, hey, Mathieu, great. You have 5 minutes. The floor is yours.
Hi, so we can start with the first slide.
We can see it perfectly there. Yes, there we go.
All right, first of all, we want to thank Councillors Luloff and Dudas for getting this done. This area has been very confusing to a lot of our residents, and so thank you for doing this. However, we do have a few comments. If you can go to the next slide. Next slide. So many sections of Jeanne d'Arc are built as 4 lanes, very wide clear zone, and very straight, no obstacles. And there's very little traffic on Jeanne d'Arc, so people tend to go very fast, much faster than the proposed 40 kilometers speed limit. And it's going to be a problem moving forward. If we go to the next slide. If you see the data from the speed cameras, you can see that Jeanne d'Arc, despite being a pretty quiet road in the middle of a suburb, is seeing as many tickets as Hunt Club and Walkley, which have much higher volumes. And with the elimination of speed cameras, we're going to see a lot less compliance. And our community has paid a lot in tickets. We would like to see some more something being done to help people slow down and achieve the 40 kilometer speed limit. So in the next slide. So we would like to see the speed limit implemented as soon as possible to help clarify the confusion. We would also like to see a plan to quickly redesign the areas that are problematic to reflect the speed limit instead of having 4 kilometer highway designed roads going through our schools. We also know that there's plans for an Orleans Boulevard bike infrastructure that's currently in the works that may include some of the areas. We would like to see it released as soon as possible. And we would also like to see temporary measures as soon as possible, especially around schools, whether it's speed bumps, bump outs, whatever staff recommends. And then eventually gradually build a permanent infrastructure that would allow our kids to go to school safely. And that's all I had.
Thank you very much. Great delegation. We have Councillor Dudas.
Yes, it's less of a comment and just more of a sharing my appreciation. The Community Association, and Mathieu, I know you're here on their behalf, have been very vocal and active advocates for safety, pedestrian safety, making sure that this stretch of road has a more common sense approach to the speed limits, and has been very vocal on behalf of the community. So I take note of the comments you have and the next steps that are proposed in your presentation. I will absolutely continue to work with yourselves as well as the schools in the area and the residents who live in the community to make sure that we're seeing progress on these factors. So I wanted to thank you, and I know we have an AGM we're attending tonight, so I will see you this evening. But I know how much work it takes as a community association to do this effort on behalf of all the residents. So I wanted to share my appreciation that you're here today.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And I'll echo. My mother lives right around the corner there. So I'm very familiar with that stretch. And you've heard a lot of the discussions. Oh, I have Councillor Luloff here first, and then I'll.
Oh,
I'll
no,
pipe-
that's for questions and comments to staff, Chair, sorry.
Oh, okay. So just before we get to staff, I just want to thank you for coming out today, and we'll cut you free, but your points are well taken. Questions to staff, Councillor Luloff.
So we've been working on this for quite some time, the 4 East End councillors for sure, and I really want to express my extreme appreciation to Councillor Dudas for helping pick up this torch following last term. We reduced the amount of speed limits nearly by half last term, but we still ended up with stretches of road with private, like I get it, like Jeanne d'Arc for the most part is an arterial and functions as an arterial. However, there are private approaches through the village onto this arterial. And so going from 70 when we had North Service Road to 60 to 50 to 40 to 50 to 40 to 50, back up to 60, down to 40, and then back up to 60 again is a bit ridiculous. Like, I mean, anybody can see that that's a little bit ridiculous on one, 4-kilometer stretch of road. So this harmonization makes a lot of sense because we bookend it and create a single 40 zone through 5 school zones. And yes, there is space between the schools, and we've received some feedback from the community that they feel that 40 is too low when there are no schools present. But having these very short 200, 300 meter breaks where you can go 50 again, only to slow down again, is not safe for children, for our more experienced members of the community that are trying to access some of the pathways, like Father Richard Ward Park and others in the area. So you've got through the villages where you've got private approaches, people are trying to pull out of their laneway, rightly or wrongly, sometimes backwards. And then you've got 5 schools kind of stacked in a row. And so, yes, I can imagine that when people are trying to, make their way in the morning, and the only thing that they're thinking about is, finishing their morning coffee as they're driving in, that 40 can seem slow when they're trying to get to the highway. This is more about safety than it is convenience, and you have other options. So if you're living closer in the villages and you want to get on the highway faster, you've got 10th Line Road. You also have the option, if you're living in the middle, to go up Orleans Boulevard, turn onto St. Joseph, and then get on at Jeanne d'Arc. Or you can continue on, and please respect these new speed limits. This is far more about community safety and driver predictability. Having so many different speed limits where you're speeding up and slowing down like that does not increase predictability for those that are vulnerable road users. So I just want to express my appreciation for my council colleagues for helping to make this happen. I understand that it'll be jarring for some, but as we get used to this new speed limit, I know that the predictability will be increased. So I truly appreciate the work of Councillor Dudas and the chair and Councillor Kitts helping to make this happen. It'll take an adjustment, and yes, it's strange to see a 4-lane arterial at 40, but we need to think about the context here. So thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Dudas.
I'm going to echo a lot of what my colleague has said. And I think, this has been many years in the making, and frankly was really driven by residents who were directly and repeatedly sharing their frustration about the confusing mixed bag of speed limits and the implications that it had for safety for all users of the street. I mean, Jeanne d'Arc Boulevard is a textbook example of what happens when speed limits are changed in isolation without having a cohesive plan for how they should link together. And for those of you who are on committee who may not have traveled this road often, this stretch is the main artery through the north end of Orleans. It's connecting thousands of homes, links my ward with Councillor Luloff's. And as Councillor Luloff alluded to, in just over a few kilometers, drivers are encountering multiple speed limits. They're going 60, 50, 40 kilometers. But then you add in the school zones, and in at least one instance, that varies by time of day. So you never know if it's a 40. and you have to check your time of day, you have to check the date. It's not just confusing, it's dangerous. So these inconsistent conditions, they put cyclists and pedestrians, the students, they put drivers at risk, and people are getting tickets because they're not 100% sure what time of day it is and if they're breaking the 4 days. So residents have been vocal about their frustration, and I've heard on countless occasions complaints about how easy it would be to just bring common sense to these speed limits. So I also wanted to thank city staff for their work following the motion that was introduced by myself and Councillor Luloff. We now have a plan. It brings clarity and consistency to this corridor. It's going to align with not only city policies, but provincial policies as well, particularly pertaining to school zones. And most importantly, it makes sense. It's going to make sense to the people who are driving it, to the pedestrians who are using it, and it's going to be a move in the right direction. So I wanted to thank you, Chair Tierney, for your support, and a special thank you to Councillor Luloff. Together, we've done this quite closely, and I very much appreciate this, as well as your work on this area before. This section of Jeanne d'Arc spans both of our wards, and your collaboration was key in moving this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, councillors, Eastern councillors, for your hard work, and Councillor Dudas and Luloff. Just some closing remarks before I'm assuming we're going to carry this. If you're not following the ASC situation, the Premier is fast-tracking the second reading of the automated speed enforcement cameras, which is detrimental to municipalities. I know the pressure's on right now. This is just another indicator to the province. We're listening. Having a normalized speed around a school zone is exactly what we're doing here today, to show that there's predictability around these zones. It's not a cash grab. It's about the safety of our students. So we'll stay on top of this and we'll keep pressing ahead. But on this specific item, and thank you again to all the work, is this item carried?
Carried.
Carried. With the agreement of committee, we do have, I hate walk-on motions, but this one is very time sensitive, related to not the installation of a stop sign, but keeping a stop sign, if you can believe it or not. So I'll ask with committee, is that okay to allow Councillor Jarosz to walk this on? Great, seeing no objections. Councillor Jarosz, we'll put that up on the screen.
Thank you, colleagues. And I wouldn't do this if there wasn't some urgency or if I wasn't concerned about the safety. And this information that I received this morning about a temporary stop sign that the city is planning to remove. And some of my colleagues will be aware of the newer communities where stop signs are often installed by the developer in response to concerns by the community for crossing the street and safety and what have you. So this is exactly the case here, that we do have a stop sign that was installed. It's supported by the community. It's located next to a school. There's a lot of walking traffic around the school, a lot of cycling. My colleagues who are big defenders of the cycling community, as they should, would be impressed with the bike rack at the school in the morning. It is full of bikes in a suburban community. So I'm concerned about the renewable. I think we need to keep it pending sort of the further development in this area. So I ask colleagues for support today. I'd also note that if this was tabled as a notice of motion, we wouldn't deal with it until after the budget. So again, I don't do this very often, but if I could call on colleagues to support this and support my judgment that this is important to the community and that the school would see this as positive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Looking to the board, seeing no questions, is this item carried?
Carried.
Thank you
Very much.
Thank you.
Also looking down, we have no in-camera items. We do have inquiry to be read by Councillor Skalski from Councillor Kitts.
So yeah, I'm just going to read two questions on behalf of Councillor Kitts, who is not able to be here today, regarding the City of Ottawa's school bus camera pilot program. So the first question, does the Premier's recent announcement on changes to legislation affecting automated speed enforcement cameras have any impact on the City of Ottawa's school bus camera pilot program? And the second, could staff please provide an update on the current status of the City of Ottawa's school bus camera pilot program, including any findings or observations to date? Thank you.
Great, thank you very much for that. And we do have another inquiry from Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. So on October 16th, 2025, a commercial dump truck struck and killed a 5-year-old boy in Ottawa's Overbrook neighborhood. To avoid such tragic deaths, other municipalities such as Toronto are leveraging Vision Zero design principles across multiple city departments such as fleet. Can fleet services outline by the end of Q1 2026 any heavy vehicle safety improvements or initiatives the city may consider for its heavy equipment fleet, which align with the Vision Zero strategies being implemented by other municipalities such as Toronto? Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that. Looking down the list, seeing no other business, that would be adjournment. Our next meeting will take place, pack a lunch, Thursday, November 27th, 2025. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.